Money day, guys and girls, welcome back to another video. You're now locked in and you're learning with Vel. Now, a quick segment. I'm going to show you guys how I've been able to bank over £4,000 profit trading US oil. And I'm going to share with you guys the importance of understanding what's happening quickly with the macroeconomical political tensions between US and Iran. So no further ado, let's get into this. So just quickly, guys, you can see here I've got a daily time frame and we have marked out this low down here to this high, and pretty simply I've waited for a pullback. Okay, like anything, guys, when we wait for pullbacks, we use the Fibonacci to time our entry, and that's what we've been able to do. We saw this gap down here. So what I do when I use the Fibonacci is I try to find a reason why I would take a buy or a sell, in this case a buy. So I then say, okay, between these levels here, ideally try to find a reason why I would buy. And the first thing that I saw was this gap down here. Okay, I saw this gap and I thought, okay, if price closes this gap is sitting on the 79%. So I'd like to see a reaction from there. Okay, and you know, I was quite fortunate to see the reaction and prices pushed up. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, guys, off of a daily time frame I had to have a 200 pip SL. 200 pips on oil is quite big. Okay, but by using Telos, I could go over to oil, I could go to the lot calculator, I could go to change the currency, I could put it on oil and it could tell me exactly how much I was going to risk. I could say how much I want to risk by changing the risk here, and of course by putting in the stop loss, okay, putting in the pips. But just to show you guys, we're currently up on this 1,300 pips. Okay, I do think this is going to go to the highs, and let me explain. So towards the start of the year, for those of you who don't know, towards the end of February, I believe, the geopolitical tensions was really rising between Iran and US. So much so, I actually called this out prior to it happening, but so much so that we knew that there was going to be a war. Okay. And this war was going to be over the Strait of Hormuz. And this specifically means that we're fighting over oil. Now, in most times of us going to war, in most times the US going to war, should I say, because I've never been to war, right? They're usually fighting over oil, right, or resources, but it's not at the forefront of the topic of conversation. Like George Bush might have said, oh, Iraq's got weapons of mass destruction, but really they're going there for something else, right? But in this case, it was directly over the oil port, right? The Strait of Hormuz controls 20% of the world's population, 20% of the world's population with exporting oil. Okay, so because of this, it meant that the price of oil was always going to go up. So when the war started, when the missiles started flying, they targeted a lot of US military bases in the Gulf regions, like here, for example, in the UAE. And we saw the price of oil going through the roof. Boom, 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 like EastEnders, right? Gold was flying. We got to a high of $121, which actually was near COVID levels. If you guys remember over here, this is 129. Okay, if you guys remember during COVID, just after COVID, I'm not sure if it was during or just after, but there was this whole oil shortage of basically them saying oil's running out, and everyone was driving to the petrol station. Everyone was buying more oil than they needed, right? And this was when it pushed price to $129 a barrel. So this war, I sat down and I said to myself, if this war does happen, I need to be focusing on oil. And I need to focus on oil over a long-term basis. Not over I'm going to get into the trade on an hour time frame and buying and sell. And no, I could get into a potential buy here where I could hold, right? And understanding the significance of what happened with the last quote-unquote oil crisis, price went to $129, I looked at it as the same thing. Now, you have to understand, guys, with this one candle over here, if I just highlight this one candle pushed up 3,000 pips, right? It says 3,834 pips. I ain't going to lie to you, this ain't gold. That is really 3,834 pips. So in that one candle, gold was explosive, but then it came down, pushed back up, it came down, And that's because, at one point there was a peace treaty, then the peace was off, then it was back on, then it was off. It was a real yo-yo situation, right, with the so-called peace. And even now, we've had the whole, peace, and that's why prices was coming down. And now the peace is off, and now missiles are flying again, so the price is going up. So essentially, when we had these talks of peace, as price was coming down, I just simply said, hey, if price could come down to fill this gap, I would buy. And so it has done. Now, if we've missed this entry here, not to worry. I did share this setup inside my Discord and my Telegram. But if you've missed this entry here, then we would be looking, guys, for a pullback down into filling this gap here. It doesn't have to fill the gap entirely. I would love for it to do that. It might only fill 50% and come to there. Okay. But if we were to get into a position here, let's just have a look at what the stop loss would be looking like. The stop loss would need to cover this candle, if I'm honest with you, okay? And we're taking this off of a daily time frame, right? So if we had 300 pips, is crazy, 335. Look at that, that's 442. I would need to take the trade off of a level, okay? I would need price to come down to this level, 70%. And if it came down to 70%, I could cover this candle here, 150 pips. I can stretch to 200. That's what my initial trade was. So I can stretch to 200, knowing that the upside potential, even if we go back to 50% of this range, this is still an 11-to-1 R&R, guys. If you risk £100 in this trade, you're making 1,100. You risk £1,000, this is £11,000 move right here. Okay, and these moves are highly probable based off of, one, the fundamental aspect, but two, the way the markets are moving right now. Okay, we know that Trump is threatening to reopen the missiles and to push the world back into a dangerous place. And because of this, it's putting a strain on gold, right? What most haven't realized is commodities are gold, oil, and silver. And they used to kind of work in tangent with each other simultaneously. But as time's gone on, that's not the case. If oil goes up, if oil goes up, gold is coming down. Right now, they're fighting over oil. So that's the reason why it's basics of supply versus demand, guys, right? If the demand is increasing and the supply is shortening, the price of oil is going to go up. So that's a really quick breakdown. If you'd like to see more videos like this, follow and subscribe and comment below more on analysis, and I'll be sure to give you guys a deep dive. But this video here is how I'm currently sitting £4,000 in profit with oil. I'm targeting the high. I'm targeting an all-time high of $130 to break the pre-COVID levels of 129. I want to see 130, but if we get to this halfway point, get back to this range of where we were in the war, hey guys, I'm going to start taking some positions. I'm going to start taking some profits. So we're still in the discounted zone to be buying right now, so it's not too late, but of course we want price to come back down to get a better entry. So yeah, for more videos like this, let me know what you think. For more videos like this, drop it in the comments. Telos is definitely helping me because when I go over to the dashboard, if I can find a dashboard, and I go over to oil, when I have a look at oil and I come down here, when I click on open full pair details, it's giving me information that is helping me understand. Look here, Iran standoff reshapes global energy flows. Can America actually build Trump's golden fleet? So just by looking at more information, it helps me. Risk off regimes favor US and bonds. Equities and growth proxies tend to bleed. It's helping me understand more about what's happening with oil, and it's telling me oil is bullish right now, and that's exactly what we're seeing. So yep, look forward to catching you guys on the next one. Peace.